In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve a variety of equations on the graphical calculator. The first equation I'm going to solve is a quadratic here. So I'm going to go into the main menu and into the equation solver function. And this is a polynomial, so I'm going to choose F2 for polynomial. So quadratics, the highest power is 2, so degree 2. You've got to check top of the screen, make sure you know what format the equation needs inputting. So this is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So my quadratic's already in that format. You might need to rearrange it otherwise. And I'm just going to type in these values, which are my coefficients of x squared, x and the constant. This is a negative one, so I need to use the negative button here. Don't try using the subtract button, your calculator won't like it. Once you've done that, the menu will pop up and F1 to solve. You get the answers as decimals here, but if you use the scroll wheel here to scroll between them, if you've got the 9860, it'll display as an exact value in the bottom corner of the screen. And there's my two solutions. The next quadratic's very similar, so I'm just going to use the exit button to go back a step, put in my coefficients again, so A is 3, B is 11 and C is 6, and again F1 to solve. My values here are as decimals again, or the first one is, and in the right hand corner of the screen I can see it as an exact value as negative 2/3. And I can see my second solution is negative 3 anyway. The beauty of this is I can now see how to factorise this quadratic, because if my roots are negative 2/3 and negative 3, then the factors are 3x add 2 and x add 3. The next equation I'm going to solve is a quadratic equation, so I'm going to use the exit button to go back into the main equation menu, or I could just use the menu button and go back into it from the beginning. This time I'm going to choose F1 for simultaneous. There are two unknowns, x and y, so F1 again. And I've already put these coefficients in, but check what format the equation is in. So this one wants it in the form ax plus by equals c. So there are my values. Make sure again you use the negative button for any negative values, such as this one here. And then F1 to solve. And there are my two solutions. X is 4 and y is 2. Again, if they weren't integer solutions, the exact value would be displayed in the bottom corner of the screen here, and you can just scroll between them using the scroll wheel here. The last one I'm going to solve is also a simultaneous equation, but the first equation is linear, the second one is quadratic. So I'm not going to use this part of the menu to solve it. Instead, I'm going to go into the graph function. I'm going to put both of these equations in, but the graph function is set up as a y equals function at the moment, and you can change that, but I don't need to for this one. I've just rearranged the equation to make y the subject. So my first one is y equals 3, take away 2x. Make sure when you put your x variable in, you use this variable button. Don't try using the alpha x button, because that won't work. Execute takes me into the next option, and I can put in x squared. Take away 3x, add 1. If I needed a higher power, I'd just use this button for my next power. Make sure you press the execute button after each equation. You can see here where the equals are highlighted in a black box. They're the graphs that are going to draw when I press F6, draw. I can see both graphs here on the screen, but if for some reason I couldn't, you can use the scrub wheel here to scroll around the screen, or you might want to zoom in and out. So F2 zoom will allow you to zoom in or out. The important thing for this particular question is F5 G solve, that brings up a whole new menu of options, and I'm going to choose F5 again for intersection. And there the calculator's found the first point of intersection, which has x values of -1 and y of 5. That's my first pair of solutions to this equation. To get to the second pair, I just use the scroll wheel to scroll right, and the calculator's telling me x is 2 and y is -1, and there's my second set of solutions.